Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session this afternoon. I'll be talking a little bit about a welding simulator today, and also we'll be discussing some of our software that we've got available. So just a little bit of an introduction to my company, or to our company, is our company's name is Edit Microsystems. Some of you might have heard from us or dealt with us. So our company is a company that's very focused in education. One of our things that we do believe in, that we actually want to spend quite a bit of time in the educational, be it foundation phase, high schools, tertiary institutes, TVETs and all that as well, that we spend quite a bit of time with teaching technology to help people giving the lessons or delivering lessons much easier. So in the scenario, what we're that I'll show you a little bit about today, is one of the fields that we've noticed there's a massive shortage in South Africa is good certified welders. We've had a number of welding institutes that basically rolled out some of our virtual welding simulators. And they do find that it saves quite a bit of time on resources and prepping stuff. And obviously a big thing for them is costs and safety, obviously. Being a virtual welding or a welding simulator that I'll show you a little bit later about, one of the big things is that we found is a lot of students, the first time when they initially start welding, they get a massive fright, and some of them don't want to engage with it again. And we've had a look at different types of technologies, and I'm not too sure if you have looked at some of the welding simulators. A lot of the welding simulators one can invest in these days is rather a large amount of money. So the welding simulator that I'm going to be showing you today is a very basic welding simulator. It teaches the fundamentals of welding. We've got, I'll show you a little bit later, but if you're interested in welding, we've got the V-groove token, lap joint, and obviously the other one is a T-joint that I'm going to be showing you a little bit about today. Now, with the concerns regarding welding, this is not specifically, sorry, I've just noticed that the webcam is trying to focus here. I think it might look a bit better if it's blurry. But so the different types of welding simulators that's on the market, this specific one is not there to go and do pipe welding or vertical standing welding. This is a very basic form that one can basically put into a school network or into further education, TVETs, where one can have a number of these stations, and the students can go to any of those welding simulators, log in with their username and password, and depending on whose class they would be in, gets all that information where they're supposed to start welding or carry on from where they left off last time. But let me quickly just show you on my computer screen over here. I'm just going to be sharing my screen. Right. So what I wanted to show you is, this is the welding simulators that we've got here. This is basically how it looks like. If I scroll a little bit down, some of the classroom environments that one can go and do, you notice that the ones that I'm showing over here, where my mouse pointer is currently, that is the VR welding simulators that we'll be showing you. We've also got a live weld. Now, the live weld is quite an interesting application, or a nice piece of hardware. I'll show you a little bit of a picture on that as well. So this is the welding simulator that I'm going to be showing today, the Guide Weld VR, and then the real weld, Guide Weld Live. That's quite a unique device. You would use it when you're actually doing a live weld. And inside the helmet over here, there's a few buttons that you can calibrate it. So while you're doing the welding, it actually shows you arrows and it gives you indicators inside the welding helmet on what to do. So if you're pushing too fast or you're pulling too slow, it gives you all those options. Or if your angle is wrong to bring up the gun, it assists with all those sort of scenarios that one can look at. Then we've got the real care welding defects. So it's basically, it looks like these coupons that we've got over here that you can show the students on some of the welding structures, what to look at. And then we've also got the bend tester. Right, so just so that you can see what I'm going to be talking about today, this is the GuideWeld VR. And I'm just going to close this PDF and get straight into it. So with the GuideWeld, there's also a number of there's quite a bit of curriculum that comes with it. So if I just want to quickly open up one of these PowerPoint presentations almost, there is teacher notes and there is student notes that one can go through this. So the curriculum that comes with the device is not something that you necessarily have to use. It just gives it to the person that's going to be doing the instruction or teaching. It just explains to them, or it gives them notes that they can utilize for their classroom. But you can also go and manipulate this and go and change it. So you don't have to use this. You can also bring in your own pictures and that being part of PowerPoints. So just want to open this over here just to show you a little bit more. So you would notice that it would say from pages 4 to 16, welding career opportunities, and it gives you an approximate amount of time that you would spend with that. And this just gives you a basic idea of how it looks like, the content, all right? I think the next thing that everybody wants to see is basically the welding simulator, right? I'm just going to change our cameras over here so you can have a little bit of a better look at what I want to show you over here. So you should see the side angle at this point. And what I want to show you is, I still have my desktop shared. I'm going to exit over here. So this software is really unique. So you would install this software. As you would notice, I've got a computer over here. I've got my welding simulator, and then I've just got a bigger screen. So the bigger screen I've just placed down here. When I'm busy welding, you notice that I wouldn't be physically welding, obviously, anywhere here. I would put the coupons on here, and the orientation will pick up, and then I can start with my welding from this point. But what I want to first show you is if I log into the software, and you've got a teacher profile. If you want to go and register some students or a new classroom, let's say, for instance, there's a certain classroom or certain project that some of the students is working on, you can simply click on Add a Classroom. You can go and type in the classroom details over there, and let's just going to say, I'm doing an online session today, so I'm saving it as that. And you would notice that it gives me an online classroom over there where I can go to edit students. So now I can go and add as many students as I would require. That's really nice with the software. A lot of the welding simulators is based on the amount of users that you can add to it. This, you've got unlimited amounts of classrooms and unlimited amounts of students that you could go and add on this. And it's not an annual license that one has to purchase. If one purchases these GuideWeld simulators, you purchase it and you don't have to pay licensing or anything like that reoccurs and reoccurs. So you can also set this up in the teacher's mode. Let's say, for instance, in that classroom over there, I want to go and see welding situations that I need to do. So I can see from this, it's got a MIG, it's a T-joint, mild steel, the gauge is 16. If I'm quite happy with that item that I want to be part of the lesson. So on the left-hand side, it gives me a lot of pre-made selections that I can go and use. And you would notice on the right-hand side of this tab, as soon as I click on that plus sign, it sends it to the right-hand side. Now that is my class assignments. So that's really nice. You can limit them to certain weldings that you want to do and make sure that they become experts on that. But you can also go and customize. So for instance, here at the top, I can select MIG, or if I want to go and change that to stick. So that's something that I haven't mentioned with the welding simulator, is you can do either MIG or stick. So one of the welders that I've got over here, you would notice this is stick. Really nice about this, it basically pulls back as I'm busy welding. So it's almost simulating identical how you would use a welding rod, obviously, and how it gets shorter, that you have to put your hand closer to weld as you're carrying on. I'll show you a little bit about that later. I just have the MIG on this one at this point in time. So you can go and add all your topics over here that you want to go and do. And then if I'm going to go out of this, I can now go out of that classroom again. I have logged in as a teacher, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as a student, and I'm going to go. Now I've logged in as a student. So remember when I was showing you on that initial time there on the right-hand side? This is the class assignments over here. So you would notice that I've completed this specific one, but I'm just going to give you an example. So this is a MIG, T-joint, mild steel, and it basically gives this overview as well. And it tells you novice, push, and it's a flat, okay? So I'm going to click on this one over here, just to do this. And you will notice on the simulation, one of the things that they show you is putting the gloves on, closing the helmet down just as a safety precaution. One of the things that we do push or promote is you do get a set of gloves with this, and you can basically utilize that. The only reason why I'm not wearing it today is obviously because I'm integrated or using the computer with this as well. So within the welding simulator, I can select my gun, and with the orientation, what I need to do is I need to keep it very similar to the screen that it's showing over there, a 45-degree angle, and I'll do that point as well. You notice that if I move my gun over here, it simulates exactly what I want to do on the virtual screen as well. The other thing that I could do with this is if I hold control, I can go and change the angle over here. So I'm just going to put the gun down back here. If I want to go and see an angle that I'm going to be welding at, that I'm more comfortable with, I can go and add that. And just want to quickly see here. So I'm going to be doing the welding, and you would notice one of the things that everybody does is they look at this section over here, how the welding is looking. But because it's the virtual reality, one actually needs to focus on the screen. And what I'm going to be showing you over here is you see on the top right-hand screen where it shows that arrow towards the left-hand side in red. So that is the gun angle where it's actually trying to show me to bring the gun a bit more to the top. And you would notice as I did that, that arrow over there appears. So it shows me my perfect angle for welding. And it's got a plus sign over there. So generally what that means is I need to speed up my welding. And if I've got a negative over there, it's telling me to go slower. right? So what I'm going to do is, let's quickly try and do this well. By the way, I'm not an expert welder. So I'm just going to utilize this. And I'm going to try and weld as good as I can. But you would notice that the gun, if I'm welding good, starts glowing. And it shows me that I'm actually doing a good weld at that specific moment. Right, I don't have to go afterwards. Right, now I'm going to click on save just to show you how it looked like. So it gives me my score, and I can see my work angle, 45 degrees. That was pretty much constant. Okay. Traveling angle, 10%, and nozzle plate, 9.5 millimeter. You can see that was quite good. My speed was, I changed it quite a bit. And novice. Okay, so this is something that I want to come across is novice. At this point in time, mine is set to very easy. You notice that this gray area over here, the more challenging or the more experience you do get, the narrower those lines become. And that makes it much more difficult. And I wouldn't be able to get such a high score. I would be penalized on a lot of these things that I've done over here. So what I really like about this is the teachers would also be able to access the video to see how the students as welded. So this is just a video to replay what I've done. So it saves all the necessary welds that the student has done, where the teacher can review it afterwards. Okay. So I'm just going to go out of that one. And obviously I can look at my history. I can see there's been an improvement in my welding skills. Right. Okay. I'm going to go out of that one. And I'm going to, the other real nice advantage is one can also print this out to keep a record of that. So it says student name, student class, Coenie, it's done in MIG welding, and that's the score that I got for that weld. Right. Really nice, and it's also something that one can use to encourage the students to use this. Right. I'm going to go back out of here. I'm just going to turn my welding simulator quickly. And I have to do this, so if you can notice over here, there's a little box that I can turn. So if you purchase the welding simulator, you get one of two, or you can have either the MIG or it comes with the stick. So you can choose what you want. But you can add the other one additional as well. So I've got that where I've got the MIG and the stick. And it basically looks like this on the inside. All that I do is I place it down. Right, that's back in. Turn the welding simulator on. Give it a moment. Right, so now we're going to look for a stick. Right, so stick, T-joint, stick. Okay, let's just do a stick butt joint. Right, so I'm going to remove this token. And this is purely to set the orientation on the screen while you're doing this. So I'm going to click on this one to start an exercise. Right. I'm going to zoom out a little bit on the screen. Okay. It tells me on the screen what to do here. So I'm just gonna tag it. So you would notice, once again, similar. And what I can do with this one, you'd notice, okay, electrode got stuck. As you would notice, you notice that it's getting shorter, it's retracting over here. I'm pretty sure after this presentation, none of you would employ me as a welder. Okay, so it gives you a little bit of an idea how this works. And what I can go and do with this is tap it down. If I had to, or if I wanted to put in a new stick over there, I simply click on that icon. You notice that it pushes it back. And it gives you a good idea what needs to happen there. So I can say I'm happy with that, even though it wasn't the greatest as well. It gives me a little bit of information over there. Your butt joint is quite difficult for me, and I'm novice. And obviously that's the scoring that I get. Once again, I can go and have a look at the video. Right. I know I was struggling a little bit in the beginning. So I can view the video, what I've done. It saves everything. That's where it got stuck. And this is when I started again with the weld. And within this video, something that I wanted to show you is you can still rotate the video while I am in this mode. So the teacher can look at all the different angles, go and zoom in and go and zoom out on that video, which I think is really a powerful tool. Right, so once again, you can go and save this information. The other thing that one can also go and do, you can set it up how much it's going to cost for your welds. Just to give you an estimate, at this point it's in dollars. We're hoping that they can change that to rands for us as well. And you can also say metric or non-metric. The other thing that you can say is whether you're left-handed or right-handed. So if I'm logged in as the student over here, I can simply click on it. I can say whether I'm left-handed, right-handed, or I can go and change the password. Now, one of the big things is obviously what happens if the student forgets the password. Because you can log in as a teacher, you can reset that and they can just log in, and then if they type in the username, all that they need to type in again is password, and then they can open up the software and then they can carry on from there again. Right. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a good rundown on what the software does. I think it's really powerful, and for the cost of this, it is really, I think, affordable for schools. I'm not saying all schools, but you know, what's really nice is if one can maybe look at projects with school where we can get some welders instead of bringing all welders from other countries into South Africa. I think this is a massive thing to get the fundamental basics correct and then utilizing the technology to our benefit. So that's the welding simulator. One of the other ones that I just wanted to show you today is, I just want to open up the software over here and change the camera to the hover cam, just so that you can view me from the front, as opposed to this time. So there will be some questions and answers afterwards. Now, one of the other applications that I want to show to you today is Yenka. Now, Yenka is a really powerful, it's a virtual classroom where you can go and experiment, you can play, you can design. It's been software application. If you've heard of crocodile clips years and years ago, this is the same one, but obviously it's been renovated. It looks a bit more modern and a bit more features and that sort of thing. So Yenka, what's really nice about this application, if an institute purchases this, you can either purchase it as maybe for 1 or 2 teachers. The other option is that you can purchase it as a site license. Now, the site license is really nice, and it gives you a lot of options as well. A lot of the students, let's say, for instance, TVET purchases the software, and they want to use the software, they can install it on their computer labs over there. But what it also allows you to do is the students can access the software for free at home. So let me quickly get into it and quickly show you what I mean with the software. The software is really powerful where let's just use technology as a basic example, and I'm going to use PCBs with electronics. What I really like with the software is the fact that students can play with this at home. So if you're really inquisitive and they want to go and play a bit with some of the examples, they can go and do this. So this is a virtual world where I can now go and say, okay, I would want a rectangular circuit board, right? Drag and drop this. It's also got built-in tutorials, which is very important. I'm going to drag out a battery over there, and I'm going to drag, let's get a switch, and I'm going to get a signal lamp, which is the light. And I'm going to close the circuit over there, and I'm going to turn that on, and I can turn that off, and it works. Now, there's a lot of software that can do this, but what I really like about this software is where I can click on Open Real PCB. Now, you might have a student that's got the need to go and design something. They spend all the time designing it, and from there, they can't do much with this. So this can save it as a real vector. So you can take it to companies like Communica and that, where they can actually print the circuit board for you, and it can give you the components on the right-hand side over there that you can go and utilize. So really nice. All that they need to do is go File, export it. That's all the different ones that you can save it as. And you save it as that, and you can take it to them and they can manufacture it. Now, I'll show you a little bit more about that while I'm going through all of this. Now, I'm just going to go to, I want to do a quick conversion. So it's a very basic circuit that I've put together here. Just give it a moment. And I'm going to click OK. So this is what I've just designed, right? It gives me the opportunity to go and look at that. I can go over here, I can go and zoom in. And let's just move it a little bit more up. So this is the area that I've just designed. And what I want to do is I can go and flip it around. I can go and look at the circuit board at the bottom. And I can go and turn it on, and I can go and turn it off. One of the added benefits is because of the software, I can also just double click on that one to bring its properties up. What happens if I change this battery to 12 volts? I'll turn it on. That's the lamp that's gone. So it gives students an opportunity to actually go and experiment. And I've just clicked on repair, and I've repaired that, and it hasn't cost me anything. That's the nice thing. Okay, I still haven't changed the volume of the voltage. So I've learned my lesson over there. So what happens now if I go and take it back to a 9-volt battery, and I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to turn that off. That's really nice. It also allows me, if I go to lab equipment, measurements, and I want to bring out a multimeter, place that down there, and I can place that point down there, and I can go over here. What happens if I turn this on? Shows me that it's 9 volts. So it's got some really nice, powerful tools that I can go and have a look at there. I'm just going to open up one of the pre-made ones that's already created. Electronics, local, let's just go to electronics or PCBs. The basic buggy that I can bring up, it's going to ask me if I want to save my session, and I'll click on Don't Save. Now, this is what someone's designed. Once again, I can go to this conversion. If I really like this buggy over here, I can click on that, and I can go to Open Real PCBs, and you will notice that it's created that there for me. I can also scroll down on all the components that I require for that build. The other thing that one can go and do with this is, what I really like is that you can actually now, if the students design this and they've got opportunity to go somewhere, you can maybe go and do a 3D printer, and then you can start printing a case, and then obviously the whole thing with packaging, how do you get it to market? It creates a whole lot of opportunity, this software. So this is within the software, how it's all put together, right? And obviously you can go into the coding, you can go and change all of the inputs. What happens if that touches over there? Or let's say, for instance, this buggy is driving, and you notice that if that happens, it says 45 degrees that it will turn, or it depends on what you set it up to do. So some of the other examples that we've got is, I'm just going to go here to change product. So this is one example under technology. Yenka software comes in 4 different modules. You've got computing, mathematics, science, and technology. So I want to show you the side of gears. I really like this. If I want to bring up bicycle gears, it's very easy to go and have a look at that. And what happens if I go and select gear 1, and I go and increase the amount of T on that one. So the speed improves or goes faster. Which one's going to have more power, which one's going to have more torque? One can go through all of this, right? So this allows you to have a complete virtual environment to engage with whatever you want to go and do. So I'm just going to use this one as another example. Chemistry, for instance, I'm going to select chemistry. Let's just go and do a very basic experiment on this. So I can go to equipment, apparatus, Bunsen burner. Right, bring out the stand. And the tap, this tap is quite nice. You don't have to put it onto any plumbing. Meters and probes. I know I'm going to need a thermometer over there just now. I'm going to minimize that. And glassware, yes, I want a standard. I want a beaker. Let's fill this beaker up with some water. What happens if I put too much water in? You notice that the water runs down. I can close that up, select this again, rotate, pour some of the water out, place that down on my Bunsen burner. I want to see the atom view, and I want to have a little bit of information on that, okay? And I want to also know what the temperature is. So I want to click on Show Temperature. What happens if I go and turn the temperature up? I'm going to put the sound down here. Does anybody know what temperature water boils at? You know, it says water, now to water vapor. You can notice that it's actually starting to bubble over there. Right. So this is really nice. And then if I want to go, and one of the other things that I could go and do is, if I go and select chemicals, metals, lumps, what happens if I go and put some potassium in? Okay, that explosion was a bit slow. But you get the idea of that you can go and bring in all these different things into this application. So I'm just going to show you one of the basic examples of some of the pre-made things that's available. Don't say it now, I don't want to show that one. Where I want to go and show the tritation. No, not that one, sorry. There we go. So there's a lot of these pre-made lessons that one also can go and utilize. So it actually tells you in this kit what I can go and do. So I can go and put that in there. What's the next step? Hydraulic acid into the pipette. Pour that in there. What's the next step? Right, I can open this up. You notice that it starts drawing the line over there. You notice that the substance in that vase is blue. What happens when it neutralizes? Just follow it. The curve should take place right here. And the color should change and it should carry on to the other side of the graph. There the drop takes place and it moves on. So what I really like about the software, it gives students access to stuff that they wouldn't generally have available the whole time. So I'm just going to go to change product, you know, with the science side of things as well. A lot of these pre-made things. So one of the other things that I didn't understand at school was the droplet shift. But in this experiment, it also tells you what to go and do. So I can go and change this to frequency. And I can link that with frequency. And I can take the pause button off. And you notice that the sound comes over here and gets picked up. Now what happens if the fire truck passes? You should see a drop. And I think this visual exercise is really nice for all types of students to be able to learn quite easily what to do there. So I just want to go change product. So back to technology. As I was saying, there's a number of different ones that we've got for computing. Very basic stuff is sequencing, for instance. Using a simple loop. This is just an example where I can get the students excited about coding and programming as well, just showing sequences where I can bring that up, and as soon as I click on play, it gives that person, or it controls that little person on the screen. And jump. Obviously, if I click on this, I can go and click on that rotation, pitch. Let's see what that does now. Okay, so I've simply changed the sequence within that. Right, I think this is pretty much what I wanted to show today. I think what we'll do is we'll move over to the questions and answers at this point in time. I'm just going to stop sharing the screen over here, and we can carry on from here. Go to the questions and answers. Is there any questions? Yeah, I don't seem to see there's any questions, but my presentation was a bit shorter, but I think we've covered all the foundations of what I wanted to cover today. If there's any more information, just let us know. Our company's name is Edit Microsystems, and we are really eager to help everybody to create or to have access to this. Is there any programming for engineering and graphics design? We don't have this at this point in time. It is definitely something that we are looking at, obviously for vocation and that, but we don't currently have anything with that at this point. Okay, thank you. So let's see on the chat. What else? Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining me, and I am really excited to have shown you the stuff, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you have a fantastic day further. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.